We started with 112 riders from 28 nations a few days ago, but now we're into the final day of the Formula Kite European Championships here in Portsmouth, and it's blowing over 20 knots onto Eastney Beach, so we're going to bring you the most fast, furious action that we've seen of the whole competition so far. Hi, my name's Andy Rice. I'll be commentating with President of the International Kiteboarding Association from Sardinia, Mirko Barbini. Mirko, we are looking at really strong wind today, aren't we?
Yes, exactly. We start blowing from early morning, and all the riders, they start to understand which choice between 11 or stay on the 15. But it's going to be risky. Let's see.
Let's see. Well, let's see also how we got to this point. We'll bring you a little update of how the competition has gone so far. Here we go. Even when she started almost a minute behind the fleet because of a tangle with her kite on the beach, Ellie Aldridge managed to come through the fleet from down in the 20s to finishing third across the finish line. That, combined with winning a couple of races today, puts Ellie Aldridge at the top of the leaderboard. She goes into the final wearing the yellow bib and on match point. Now, Poema Newland, she felt like she'd had a pretty awful day. And okay, she did drop down from first, but she's only dropped down to second, so she still goes through to the four-rider final, and it's a matter of who else in the women's fleet is going to join the British and the French rider for that four-rider final. As for the men, well, the Italians Riccardo Pianozzi and Lorenzo Boschetti booked their place in the four-rider final, so who will join the Italians there? Could it be Conor Bainbridge from Great Britain, currently in third? Could it be Yannis Maus from Germany, currently in fourth? Firstly, they've got to fight their way out of the semi-finals against the rest of the top 10 who got through. So lots to play for, and there are Olympic spots up for grabs, just one in the men and one in the women. So there are lots of little dramas within the main story, but the thing that we most want to find out on the final Sunday here in Eastney Beach is going to be who is going to take the European title in both the men and the women. So Mirko, as I just said on the recap, we are talking not just about the European titles, but we've got a number of nations that are looking to book their spot. Now, a number of nations already booked their spot at the World Championships in the Netherlands a month ago, but for this event, there is one nation that can get through to the Olympics next year, both in the men's and the women's categories. And Great Britain is very much focused on that battle that Conor Bainbridge is involved in the men. He's up against two Polish riders who are trying to qualify Poland and also Germany, Yannis Maus. So we're looking at a really big showdown there in the men today, aren't we?
Yeah, absolutely. This, I think, is beside the title. The European title is one of the most important things for them to get the spot and the ticket for the Olympics, because after that it will change all the winter program and all the people also involved. So I guess it's going to be really great things to get the ticket today, unless waiting until April for the last chance qualifier.
Well, we'll talk a little bit more about the men a little bit later on, but let's talk about our top 10 women who are going through into the medal series today. We did a bib ceremony earlier this morning, handing out the bibs. So let's just give you a rundown of our top So we have quite an interesting scenario there as well, Mirka. We've got Alina Corneli as a potential qualifier for Austria on one side of the semi-finals, and then this could be really fierce in semi-final B. We've got Julia Damasovic from Poland and Gisela Pulido from Spain, and we know that Gisela doesn't take prisoners, does she?
No, absolutely. She will never give up at all, and she will try her best to try to book the spot to the Olympics. And we all know how disappointed she was at The Hague at the Worlds, because she had really great speed. I mean, perfect performance to be on the top 10, but she made a lot of mistakes. So now she has really to prove to not making any more mistake and get the tickets. But so far she's not in a really good position, so she has to battle really hard today.
And Gisela is also one of the smaller riders. We see riders getting bigger and bigger in this competition. So if you're tall, it gives you a greater opportunity to also put on weight as well. But Gisela, she's a multiple world champion in freestyle in the jumping discipline, but in the kite foiling racing discipline, she's one of the smaller riders. So bearing in mind how strong the conditions are today, is this going to work against the Spanish rider, do you think, Mirko?
I don't think so, because the course is going to be short. You know, we have an aim of more or less 7-minute target time. Is quite wavy, and so physique wise, I think it's not really pay off to be only the heaviest. And she can play with the smaller kite, so better on maneuvering. So let's see. I guess that she's not gonna be so bad, also if she's the smallest on the fleet.
Earlier on in the week, we saw the riders playing with the 21 and 23 square meters. We've seen a lot of the 15 square meters, but today we expect a lot of the women to be on the smaller 11 square meter, because this is the windiest that we've seen so far. But it's well within the range of what kite surfing is able to achieve. We've got just over 3 minutes to the start of the first women's race. I think we've got time to talk through the men. So if we've actually got 2:18. So no, let's just stick with it for the moment. Back to you shortly. Okay, so we've got 1 minute 30 to the start. This is going to be the first race of women's semi-final A. So let's just remind you again of who we're going to be watching in this 4-rider semi-final. We've got Israel's Maya Ashkenazi. We've got Alina Corneli from Austria, also looking to book that spot for Austria in the Olympics. Great Britain and Israel already qualified for the Olympics, but for Lily Young and Maddie Anderson from Great Britain, this is their opportunity to show the home crowd what they can do. And if you see Lily Young, she's got 2 stars next to her name, and Maddie Anderson has 1 star next to her name. What this means is it's the first to 3 wins. Now, because Lily Young has gone through in 3rd place, she gets rewarded with 2 match points already. She's only got to get 1 win in the semi-final, and Lily Young has booked her spot in the final later on this afternoon. Maddie Anderson, well, she's got 1 win on the board. She's got to get 2 race wins in the semis. As for Austria and Israel, well, Alina Cornelia and Maya Ashkenazi start with no wins, so they are going to have to win 3 races in this semi-final if one of them is going to break through to the final later on this afternoon. So the odds are stacked in favour of the 2 British riders, but we've seen these semi-finals play out in a number of ways. We've got 15 seconds to go, and it looks like 2 on the right are going to start on port tack and 2 on the left are going to start on starboard, and we so often see this. The kite swings down into the power zone, and it's start time, and the 2 port tackers Oh, is one gonna? No, one port tacker's trying to get across the front, has just got away with it. So we're just trying to identify who that is, but that looks like it is Lily Young in red coming towards us along with Maddie Anderson. So it's the two British riders at the bottom of your screen, and it's the Austrian and the Israeli that did the port tack start, and one of them did a very daring port tack start across the front of the face of the two British riders. So the waves are up a little bit more. And Mirko, we also heard that from one of the other riders who was out earlier this morning, that there's a lot of seaweed there. We've heard a lot about the weed this week, but apparently weed is quite a factor today.
Yes, that was the discussion when we got the other competitors from the Gold coming ashore. And yes, they said that no matter in which side of the course you are, there is a few area with a lot of seaweed. So let's see. But now we have Lily Young and Maddie Anderson on the left side of the course, and Maya and Alina on the other side of the course.
So in the middle of your screen, that's Lily Young, and then off to the bottom right, it's Maddie Anderson, the two British closest to our drone shot. And now we see the collision course. We see the convergence between those that went left and those that went right. And it's going to be very close between Lily Young and Alina Corneli from Austria, who is leading from the other side. Maya Ashkenazi from Israel, just some way back. And Lily Young right on ley line there. And it looks like Lily Young is leading at the moment. And it's Alina Corneli has had to tack. So actually things looking very good indeed for Lily Young, who, remember, if she wins this race, then she sealed the semi-final in just one straight race. So things very much going Lily Young's way, especially now that you see that significant lead and that battle between the next two. It's Maddie Anderson and Alina Corneli locked in a battle for second and third.
Yeah, really interesting position. And Lily, she really spotted the ley line coming, and perfect execution on the tack close to the mark, which is always risky, because if Alina was really close, then you don't know exactly how it's gonna.
There's been a crash down. That's either Maddie Anderson or Alina Corneli. We'll find out in a moment. I think it's Alina Corneli.
Yeah, that she was Alina.
So now it's Lily Young at the bottom of your screen wearing the red bib, who is leading quite comfortably ahead of Maddie Anderson. And Maya Ashkenazi moves up into third for Israel, while Alina Corneli recovers her kite and board and gets up and running in last place. But someone's going to have to do something dramatically good to overtake Lily Young, or Lily may well hit a patch of seaweed. We don't know. You can't take anything for granted on this race course on these boards. Things can change super quick, but right now you couldn't ask more of Lily Young, who is almost 200 meters ahead of her teammate from Great Britain, Maddie Anderson.
Yeah, really nice. And you can see from the drone shot also the sea state and the kind of waves, using the waves to keep more speed and go deeper. You never know, because then if something happens, then through the waves you can't spot if there is any patch of seaweed, because you have the wave in front of it. So it's always not easy.
And this is the lumpiest conditions we've seen. It was such flat water yesterday. Much lumpier today. Mirko, how much does that affect your speed and the way that you approach the riding? There's a crash for Lily Young.
Yeah,
so
we said that maybe she got, because if you notice, she just started to slow down, and then for sure was something in the water.
So she's back in second. Maddie Anderson now tacks, and there is a real battle on between the two Brits again. This was very similar to how they were positioned. Another little splashdown for Lily Young. This is not looking at all easy, but when Lily Young is up to speed, she's looking very fast indeed. It's just a matter of how hard do you push the board. They really can't afford to go at 100% in these waves and with this weed, can they, Mirko?
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be the leg work. I mean, pushing is physique, so you have really to keep the board with more angle and push a lot to keep the speed, and work a lot with the legs and your body to follow the waves and to avoid to have ventilation on the foil.
But it looks like Lily Young has recovered her composure and her stance on the board. At times, you can barely see the riders as they go up and down, in and out of those wave tops, but already back up the top of the course, Lily Young with a slender lead over her teammate from Great Britain, Maddie Anderson, and just back in third place, Maya Ashkenazi. Will this be a successful tack for Lily Young? It looks like she's safely through, and so is Maddie Anderson. But Lily Young will know that she can't afford any more slip-ups, otherwise Maddie Anderson's going to come right past her.
Yes, exactly. We can't really say it's done until it's done, because with this kind of condition, if something happened also over the last 100 meters, then it's going to be a big ticket that you pay.
Absolutely. High tariff kind of day, but a successful jibe for Lily Young, with Maddie Anderson carrying a little bit further and now just jibing out of picture. Lily Young trying to tread that fine line between pushing for top speed, but also keeping enough safety in the bank not to have a crash. But it does look like she's a little bit faster downwind. She's touching 27 knots. Maddie Anderson actually touching 27 knots now as well. And Maddie Anderson on a good angle where she is on the far side of the course. Will she have closed the gap on Lily Young? Young safely across the front of Maddie Anderson. So things going well for the leading British rider so far. Britain in first and second. Israel in third, and somewhere at the back is Alina Corneli from Austria. Lily Young
Round the mark, and now for the last jibe.
Look at those waves.
Yeah.
Quite significant waves, aren't there?
Yes, absolutely. This is why not easy to... You can see they are working a lot with the legs and pushing and releasing and pushing. Let the board follow the water and then stay always at the same level, because you need to keep always the foil just a little bit above the... below the water.
Going into the jibe,
jibe,
round the slalom mark, safely through the jibe. Kite running quite high there. What's she doing there, Mirko? Just playing it safe?
Yes, exactly. You spot it. Yeah, just playing safe. It's the last few hundred meters, and she can for sure see the finish line flag. And that's what she needs to do.
And it looks really wobbly, and Lily Young is taking absolutely nothing for granted, but she wins the race, and that puts Lily Young straight through to the four-rider final this afternoon. So Lily Young couldn't have sailed that race any better. She had that crash down, but she kept her composure. She wins the race, and Lily Young, a recent Olympic bronze medalist, is congratulated by her coach, and she puts herself through. The worst she can finish at these Europeans now is in fourth place, but she will be wishing for higher than that. And Maddie Anderson, also a really good performance for her to finish second in that race, with Maya Ashkenazi from Israel in third and Alina Corneli in fourth. Actually, there may have been a turnaround at the end.
Yeah, third Alina Corneli, and then fourth Maya Ashkenazi.
So what will the coach be saying to Lily Young now? I mean,
I think well done. I guess nothing else, and there is no time for debrief. Just she did a good start. She proved herself that she's fast, and mainly on the downwind, really deep and playing well with the waves. So I guess just well done. Go ahead.
Okay, great. Well, we will be back to you soon, and we'll start getting into semi-final B for the women shortly. Right, 7 seconds to the start of the next race. This is the first race of semi-final B. We've got Annelies Lammers from the Netherlands, Julia Tomasevic from Poland, Germany's Leonie Meyer, and Spain's Gisela Pulido, and everyone starting on starboard. So a different approach this time round. And to the right, it's Julia Tomasevic from Poland, Gisela Pulido next along, and then at the far end, Leonie Meyer at the top of your screen, and in between them is Annelies Lammers. Now, Lammers, she is on 2 match points, so will she be able to see out this semi-final in just one race? The Dutch rider has the potential to do that and to do exactly what we saw Lily Young do in semi-final A just now. And that looks like it's Gisela Pulido, who is the first to tack out to the right. And now it's going to be Annelies Lammers from the Netherlands also tacking out to the right. So, Mirko, the early pattern and play, who would you like to be right now?
I think Gisela, she played well. Maybe having a look on the previous tactics from Lily. Just try to play safe and not stay on the side of the lay line, on the left lay line. She's going well. She's having really good speed, but Annelies, it seems to be faster. So let's see when they hit the lay line and they will tack to the Mark 1.
So Annelies Lammers, she just needs to keep her cool. She needs to do a Lily Young, and the Dutch rider will be straight through in one race. Remember, there's also a battle for Olympic qualification. Poland and Spain trying to break through into the final, because if one or the other manages to do that, then they will have booked their spot in the Olympic Games next year. Good tack, and let's see.
Yeah, what Annelies and Gisela straight, first and second.
Big gap back to the back two, so it's a really close battle now between Gisela and Annelies Lammers. Gisela Pulido with a narrow lead. Annelies Lammers, sorry, it's Lammers who's leading, and Pulido who did the jibe away. Now Lammers defends, so Lammers with the minor advantage over Pulido, and further back it's a battle between Leonie Meyer and Julia Tomasevic, but they are quite far back from the front two, so we got 2 different match races going on right now.
Yeah, surprisingly, Julia, she's not really fast, and also we saw on the angle upwind, she was just slower compared to the others.
And
we don't know, but it was quite a good choice and jibing back and forth behind Annelies for Gisela. So Gisela is playing quite a lot with the waves.
And a lot of jibing, isn't there?
Yeah.
A surprising number of jibes between the front two. Lammers, bit of brief loss of control of the kite there. She's
too high, so she's trying to avoid to have a jibe.
Oh, this is getting dangerous.
He's really risky.
Oh, wow. Did she get the right side of the mark? I think she did, but Pulido now gets into the lead. So a really smooth rounding by Pulido, profiting from the misjudgment by Annelies Lammers.
Exactly, because this is a really kind of mistake. Then when you are really too deep and you try to avoid the jibe, most of the time it's better to do the jibe instead of try to pumping down, and you lose completely the power from your kite.
So now the advantage sits with Pulido, but we know that Lammers is fast upwind as well. It's Pulido on the left and Lammers on the right. Lammers is the bigger rider. I asked Mirko earlier if he thought that the smaller stature of Gisela Pulido would tell against her in these strong conditions, but it looks like Gisela Pulido is doing a pretty good job of holding her speed against Lammers.
Yes, exactly. She's playing really well. We know the potential of Gisela. She's fast. She just have to avoid any mistake, and she's always on the edge. That's the problem.
She's not afraid to push things as hard as she needs to. She's got a lot of courage and a lot of daring, as Gisela Pulido. But Annelies Lammers, she's a really solid competitor who keeps on getting better and better. The rate of progress of the Dutch rider in the last few months has been phenomenal.
Yeah, it's gonna be a simultaneous tack.
And it's Pulido with a marginal advantage over Lammers, but there's really nothing to choose between these. And we've seen how easy it is to make mistakes on the downwind legs.
Yes, it's going to be really helpful if Gisela, she will get the bullet.
She needs that bullet. She needs to stay ahead of Lammerts, because if Lammerts wins this race, then that's the end of the semi-final. Lammerts would go straight through. So Pulido is keeping the other three riders' hopes alive. Julia Damasovic and Leonie Meyer will also be hoping that Pulido wins this race now. But Lammerts has managed to pull in the lead. Pulido drives away, so Lammerts back in control again. And I'm sure Lammerts won't be making the same mistake about the misjudged ley line that we saw her do on the previous downwind leg. I'm sure she'll be riding a little bit further and sailing a bit extra distance just to make sure that she can make her final approach to this bottom mark with better judgment and with better speed. Pulido on the right, Lammerts on the left.
Yes, and they have almost the same speed. Both of them, they are between 28, 27 knots. So it means not making a mistake on the jibe and try to play with the waves.
And now Lammerts being forced to jibe by Pulido, attacking from behind, and there's really nothing between them now. They're on a very similar ley line. So as long as Lammerts has judged it okay, then Pulido will have judged it okay. And it looks like their approach to the bottom is quite similar, but Pulido's really attacking.
He's really attacking, and then they have to go to the no.
And Pulido looks like she's broken through, and now she has inside rights at the slalom mark. So this is really good tactical sailing by the Spanish rider, who has now seized the tactical advantage as they race towards the slalom mark, because Pulido's going to be able to make her turn earlier. Lammerts is going to have to go wide in and tight out and hope that she can steal a march on Pulido.
How important is this jibe, Andy?
Super important, Mirko. And it looks like Pulido has executed a really good jibe. Time is running out for Lammerts to steal back the win. It looks like Pulido is going to see out her first race win of the competition and put her first race win on the board. And we're going to see women's semi-final B continue for at least one more race. So what amazing daring by Gisela Pulido. She took those leeward mark roundings so well the first time round. That was where she overtook Annalise Lammerts, who made that tactical misjudgment, and then a superior rounding the last time round. Mirko, that was fantastic sailing by Pulido.
Yeah, again, we said from the beginning, surpassingly, Julia, she was really slow, but Gisela from the start fully committed to score the bullet, because she really know the bullet to be and to finish at the end of the championship on the top. Really good.
Okay, back to you shortly for the next race. Okay, so we've got a brief moment to just talk about the men, because that men's semi-final is going to spring up on us in no time flat. So let's just talk you through the top 10 men in their medal series coming up later on this afternoon. In semi-final A, Jan Marcinak and Maximilian Zukowski from Poland are going to be in on that one, along with Maxime Nochet from France and Conor Bainbridge from Great Britain, looking to book the Olympic qualification spot, but so are the Poles. So there are 3 out of 4 riders looking for that. And then in semi-final B, we've got Tiger Tyson from Antigua, Theo de Ramacourt from France, Martin Dolenc from Croatia, and Yanis Maus from Germany, and they're going to be joining the Italians that have already booked their place in the final. That is Riccardo Pianozzi and Lorenzo Boschetti. Okay, we got 10 seconds to the start of the next race. And this is men's semi-final with the two Polish riders, Max Zakowski and Jan Marcinak, with Maxime Nochet from France and Conor Bainbridge. And it's a clear start.
Two on port and two on starboard. Also here we have a separation. Maxime Nochet and Conor on the right side of the course, and Max Zakowski and Jan Marcinia on the left. So
Great Britain,
interesting separation between the two Polish and the other.
Yes, interesting that we've got two deciding to go one way to the other. So Poland going out to the left, Britain and France going out to the right. So Conor Bainbridge in a close battle with Maxime Nochet, and Jan Marcinak and Maksymilian Zakowski, the Polish riders, in a very close battle out on the left. And we're going to see that convergence very soon, because the two on the right are just beginning to tack. Maxime Nochet and Conor Bainbridge going into a simultaneous tack on the ley line. And at the moment, early advantage to Maxime Nochet from France.
Yes, and this kind of condition, we know Maxime is really familiar with waves and strong wind. It's going to be really a tough battle between Maxime and Conor.
So the two Polish riders from the left-hand side, they're on port tack. They're going to have to give way to the two on starboard. So I don't think we're going to see them get across the front of them. No, it looks like Nochet is in the lead, just narrowly ahead of Conor Bainbridge. Now, Conor Bainbridge is the guy who only needs to win one race. So if Bainbridge can overtake Nochet and win this race, then Bainbridge is straight through to the final. Nochet is on one match point so far. He needs to win two more. And the Poles currently in third and fourth, but they've got a lot to do because they've got to win 3 races. Super close between them at the moment, but it's Nochet who holds a marginal advantage over Conor Bainbridge.
And you can see also the men, they are playing with more jibe just to stay on the proper wind and use the waves to get more speed and VMG to the bottom mark. They are really close, huh?
Very, very close, and there's less than a wave between them, and Bainbridge is putting Nochet under a lot of pressure, and I'm sure that Conor Bainbridge would like to see out this semi-final as quickly as possible. He really wants to overtake Maxime Nochet. They go into a simultaneous jibe. Nochet keeps his cool, but the Poles have really closed the gap as well. Really tight between all 4 riders, and a very good rounding by Max Zakowski, who has managed to do the tightest of the roundings, and he's got a slightly higher lane than Conor Bainbridge and Maxime Nochet. And the waves are really kicking up. You can see the riders bouncing up over the top of one wave crest, down into the trough of the next, and up and over they go. So the knees getting a real workout. Nochet just about...
How close they are, huh? The top 3.
Very, very close, and really good riding by the Polish riders to close the gap on France and Great Britain. Conor Bainbridge is the first to tack out onto port tack, and this is a good attacking move by Conor Bainbridge. Now's his chance to be able to show the kind of speed that we know that Bainbridge is capable of. Now is his opportunity to see if he can outspeed Nochet, who's to windward of him.
Yes, he got the chance to tack and to be clear, so he just take it straight away because it was squeezed between Maxime and Max. So yeah, it was the right move to do. Let's see on the next tack to the top mark.
And this is such a short course. They're almost onto the ley line already. Less than a minute of sailing on port tack, and already Conor Bainbridge putting his Kite into attack. So is Maxime Nochet, and Nochet managing to hold on to the lead. And could it be that Zakowski has actually overtaken Bainbridge? It's looking increasingly like we are going to see another race out of men's semi-final A. Yes, but Bainbridge is still in second, and he's only 18 meters back from Nochet, and we've seen how quickly things can change. So Nochet still being put under pressure by Conor Bainbridge.
Yeah, it's going to be really important this last downwind leg.
Simultaneous jibe from the front too. France jibes, Great Britain jibes. Poland jibes soon afterwards. Max Sukowski leading Jan Marcinak at the back. All four still in play though. Very, very little to choose between these four riders in men's semi-final race one.
We have to remember that there is also the slalom mark, last jibe, which is always the killer one.
It is. We've seen how much can happen there. We saw how Gisela Pulido managed to overtake Annalise Lammertz in the previous race just now. And Noche has managed to stretch a bit of a gap on Conor Bainbridge. He's gone up from 18 metres to more like 48 metres. So good distance that Noche has managed to pull. There's a bit of breathing space. Looks like he's misjudged his ley line slightly. He's going to have to pump the board to get down to the bottom mark, but he manages to do that. A slight giveaway of distance to Conor Bainbridge. Noche now needs to keep his cool. Bainbridge pushing really hard. The thing is, there's no reward for finishing second in these races, so Bainbridge might as well push hard. Looks like he's only just keeping control. No, but he loses it, so that takes the pressure off for Maxime Noche, and Bainbridge is going to be passed by the two Polish riders, so unlikely that Bainbridge is going to be able to get up and running in time. This is important for Maxime Noche, who is now going to take his race win, and he's going to draw level with Conor Bainbridge on 2 match points. So the Frenchman is going to be level pegging with Conor Bainbridge going into the next race of men's semi-final A. Congratulations to Maxime Noche. He keeps his dreams alive. And he's followed across the line by the two Poles, Max Sukowski and Jan Marcinak, with Conor Bainbridge bringing up the rear. So we've seen how easy it is for these crashes to happen. And that one was quite a slow motion one, wasn't it, Mirko?
Yeah, because maybe get and they try to keep it pushing, but then I guess it was a seaweed again and it just fall off.
Yeah, so that's the luck of the draw, and you have to hope that the luck evens out across the day. We will be back to you shortly for the next race. Right, so there's Maxime Noche, who just won his first race of semi-final A. He's now on 2 match points, and that's a really good psychological advantage that he's managed to pull by winning that race. Time to next start is 1 minute 40. And this is going to be men's semi-final B. And here we have our 4 riders for men's semi-final B. We've got Tiger Tyson from Antigua, Theodor Ramacourt from France, Martin Dolenc from Croatia, and Yanis Maus from Germany. And Yanis Maus is the rider on 2 match points already. So the German only needs to win 1 race and he will be through to the final. And if Yanis Maus manages to do that, then Bainbridge and the Poles in the other side of the semi-final will know that they also need to break through into that final. Otherwise, that single Olympic qualification spot is automatically going to go to Germany if Yanis Maus manages to win this next race. So we'll see. Martin Dolenc is going to have something to say about that. The Croatian was sounding really confident this morning, ready to go out if necessary on the 11 square meter kite. And what we know about Martin is the harder it blows, the faster he goes. So he's going to love these stronger wind conditions. And we can't rule out Theodor Ramacourt is world champion just 2 years ago in 2021. And Tiger Tyson from Antigua, well, we've never seen him race so well as we've seen him race this week. So Tiger Tyson very much on an upward curve of improvement. And it looks like all 4 riders are lining up for a port tack start. 13 seconds to go.
All on port. That is interesting.
Right, here come the moves. And the black kite really pushing at this end. And that is Yanis Mouse, who gets a really fast start closest to our screen on the left hand of the four riders. So very strong by him. Just up from him is Tiger Tyson. Then further along, Theodor Ramacourt, and top of your screen, Martin Dolenc, all going really fast. So great starts by all four riders and not much to choose between them. Mirko, who do you like?
I mean, it was really interesting to see all of them staying from a minute before, almost a minute before on the left side. Was quite clear that all of them want to be on the right side of the course, and so they start all on port, avoiding an extra tack, try to not misjudge the ley line on the right side. So let's see, it's going to be really important. The first tack, not really like the position of Yanis Mouse, because it's going to be the first attempt to tack, but it will be behind, and Theodor Ramacourt will be in control on the top, together with Martin Dolenc.
So really not looking so good for Yanis Mouse right now. Despite such a good start, Yanis Mouse is at the back, but that's good news for the others because they can't afford for Yanis Mouse to win this race. Martin Dolenc with a narrow lead over Theodor Ramacourt, but there's really nothing to choose between them. Slightly further back, Tiger Tyson, and then Yanis Mouse bringing up the rear. Very close between all four. Martin Dolenc goes round less than a second ahead of 2021 world champion Theodor Ramacourt. De Ramacourt is the first to jibe. What's Martin Dolenc going to do? Successful jibe by De Ramacourt. Takes him a while to get his kite powered up again, though. Dolenc just jibes out of screen, and Yanis Mouse with a lot of catching up to do.
Yeah, also Tiger Tyson, which yesterday did an amazing day. Now he's following Theodor Ramacourt and using the waves direction to get the deepest line to the bottom mark. Really interesting. And all of them, they are way over 30 knots of speed.
Theodor Ramacourt and Tiger Tyson execute their jibes. Martin Dolenc still just in front. Martin in control, and we'll see who's made the best judgment for the ley line down to the bottom. And that's been a key part of the bottom of the course. Looks like Dolenc might have judged his line correctly. And that's Martin Dolenc safely round, and he's slightly stretched some distance. And the next two rounds, Theodor Ramacourt and Yanis Mouse, little bit high on the ley line, and the same for Tiger Tyson, who now drops back to last place. So Yanis Mouse is up to third, but he's still got a long way to go to overtake Theodor Ramacourt and Martin Dolenc. Things looking relatively comfortable for Martin Dolenc from Croatia.
Yeah, nothing is comfortable for any one of them. But anyway, Martin Dolenc wearing the blue bib, then if it's going to score the bullet, it's going to be 2-2 also.
That's right. And just briefly, we saw that Yanis Mouse was the fastest downwind with, I think it was a speed of 33 knots on the downwind leg. So Yanis Mouse was pushing really hard on that downwind leg. He had nothing to lose. But Martin Dolenc still with a 50-meter lead over Theodor Ramacourt, actually more like almost a 100-meter lead at times. And Yanis Mouse not far behind Theodor Ramacourt. Tiger Tyson did an early tack out to the right-hand side, but look at the speed of Martin Dolenc. He's consistently around 23 knots upwind. Tiger Tyson not managing to hold those kind of speeds. Here comes the tack from the front two. Martin Dolenc tacking about the same time as Tiger Tyson, but Martin Dolenc quite a bit further up the racetrack. And his strongest rival right now is Theodor Ramacourt, who also completes his tack, and Yanis Mouse, the last of the four to complete his tack, but quite tight on the ley line. Looks like Yanis Mouse has given himself a bit of work to do, but he's safely round in third. Martin Dolenc being chased by Theodor Ramacourt. Yanis Mouse in third. The only one that can win these semi-finals from this race is Yanis Maus. He's in third, so it looks increasingly, like you said, Mirko, that Martin Dolenc is going to put himself on 2 match points and draw level with Yanis Maus in the standings.
Yeah, I think he's really tried to do that, and Martin is really well trained on this kind of condition as well. So if there is nothing happen, he can make it because he's really playing well. He's really fast, great angle downwind.
Teo Ramacourt pushing Martin Dolenc hard. There's only 50 meters between them. That's about maybe 2 wavelengths. Quite big rolling waves at the moment, and that's making things really challenging, as well as that unseen seaweed. But the front two safely make their jibe. Has Martin Dolenc judged his line down to the bottom mark? It looks like he has. So it's going to be now the race towards the slalom mark. Dolenc with just a 35-meter lead over Teo Ramacourt. Really leaning back on his back foot there. They've got a different stance, partly because of the seaweed, just playing it a little bit safer. Yanis Maus pushing really hard and closing the gap on Teo Ramacourt. Now is the moment of truth for Martin Dolenc. He's already changed sides. Teo Ramacourt manages to get round the inside. Is this the moment for Teo to overtake Martin Dolenc on the final run into the finish? It's super close. And it looks like the Ramacourt has just managed to steal the win from Martin Dolenc. What a daring rounding maneuver we saw on that final slalom mark, and winning by less than 5 meters across the line. The 2021 world champion, he's back. Teo Ramacourt puts his race win on the board here in semi-final B. So congratulations to him. He's now on 1 match point. And that's setting up semi-final B very nicely. We will be back to you shortly in a few moments. Right, time to the start of the next race, just less than 2 minutes. This is going to be the second heat of women's semi-final B. And to remind you what happened earlier, it was Gisela Pulido that managed to get a race win. And so that was a really important move by her to overtake Anneloes Lammerts. Otherwise, Lammerts from the Netherlands would have seen out the semi-final in just 1 straight race. But Pulido keeps it alive for herself, as well as the other 2 riders, Julia Tomasewicz from Poland and Leonie Meyer from Germany. So Mirko, what do you think we can expect? Do you think Pulido has it in her to win another race?
She will do as much as she can to get another bullet, I'm pretty sure. But Julia, she will not stay in the corner and wait. And I hope that she managed to figure out why she was a little bit slower on the previous one. And then let's see. I'm pretty curious to see how they're gonna manage the start. If they're gonna have a split on the side of the course and both sides of the course, or they will manage to stay all on port and go to the right side like they did the men previously.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of different options work, aren't we? I tend to think that the port tack start is the strongest maneuver in these 4-rider semi-finals or finals, because you've got 1 less tack to do, provided you get your lay line right. But let's see, we've got 15 seconds to go, and it looks like
2 and 2.
2 and 2.
Yeah. So we have Anneloes Lammert and Gisela on starboard, try to close the door to Julia and Leonie from port.
Okay, so the Polish and German riders have to pass behind them on port tack, but they successfully do that. That means a marginal advantage to Pulido and Lammers coming off the line and going out to the right of your screen. But for Meyer and Damasovic, it means they've got one less tack to do. So we'll see how those things work out. Leonie Meyer with a marginal advantage with the red kite compared with Julia Damasovic, and out to the right it's very even between Pulido and Lammers going out to the far side of the racecourse.
Yeah, still, if Lammert will score the bullet, then it's over for everyone.
That's right. So Annalise Lammert's the top of your screen, one of those two riders you can see in the distance. She's still potentially just one race away from taking the win. Nobody else can do that. Julia Damasovic and Gisela Pulido need to win 2 more races, and Leonie Meyer from Germany with the red kite, she still needs to win 3.
It's going to be really important for both Gisela and Julia because they have both 1 bullet. So looking on the famous Olympic spot, it's going to be really important between them.
That's
who can score the bullet.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So we also keep you up to date with how things are going with the Olympic qualification spots. Meanwhile, Leonie Meyer was looking good on the other side, and then coming back from the far side of the course, we're looking at Gisela Pulido on the right and Lammert's on the left. Still nothing to choose between them as they go into a simultaneous tack. Very, very close between Pulido and Lammers, who look like they've got the marginal advantage on Leonie Meyer and Julia Damasovic at the back. Really close between all 4 riders right now, though. Pulido's going to go round in the lead, but followed almost immediately by Lammers. So these are the 2 rivals that battled so fiercely in the previous semi-final match, and we saw the white bib of Pulido win that time, but look how close.
Really close. At some point, they were almost in the line
yes.
of Gisela.
You wonder how they don't tangle their kites, but they managed to keep separated. Lammert's in the controlling position, I would think, where she is, and Pulido manages to pull off the jibe, and she's going to jibe behind Lammert. So does that mean she's given up the lead? It possibly does. I think that's the lead change we're talking about there.
Yeah, virtually, because then at some point Lammert has to jibe first.
So Lammert's used her tactical advantage, forced Pulido eventually to jibe, but she had to jibe behind the Dutch rider. So now the Dutch rider is in the lead again. We've seen this before. Pulido now pushing Lammert's, and Lammert's had a wobble, and Pulido pounced, took the moment and managed to win the previous race. But Lammert's will have a much better idea about where this ley line is for the bottom of the course. That was one of the key battle points of the previous race.
Not really nice.
You're not impressed with that, Mirko?
No, the jibe for Gisela, when you see the wingtip of the kite just folding a little bit, that means that the kite will not respond straight forward and you lose a few meters.
And we saw Pulido do a bit of a wheelie. She pretty much got her foil straight out of the water as she did the rounding. And I assume that she's trying to clear some weed off the foil, because seaweed is the hidden challenge that we can't see from our commentary position. Pulido going into the tack first, but Lammert's not allowing any separation. Lammert's looking to put a hard cover on Gisela Pulido. Look at the gap. It really is a match race because it's almost 250 meters back to 3rd place Julia Damasovic.
Yeah, she's not really fast, Julia. I guess that she makes some mistake on the equipment or the kite or the foil because yesterday she was way faster than today. Never been so back. Annelus and Gisela, they are almost on the same speed and also the same angle. And when you have around 50 meters, is almost nothing.
Now, if Annalise Lammert's were to win this, that means that she would go through to the final, and it means that none of our qualifiers, our Olympic qualification nations, would have got through to the finals. And so at the end of this race, if Lammers does win, we should be able to find out which nation has booked that women's spot for the Olympics.
Yeah, between Poland and because Alina, she doesn't have any bullet, they had a bullet on it, so there will be advantage for Julia and Gisela, but let's see how it's gonna end up.
Right, okay, so we'll try and keep you updated on that. The maths are a little bit complicated on us being able to work that out from here right now, but we try and bring you the update on that. But in the meantime, of course, for all of that to happen, Anna-Loes Lammers has to retain the lead. She's only got a 15-meter lead over Pulido, and actually, according to our tracking, Pulido might have even taken that. No, I think that was a glitch. I think Lammers is still in the lead. So I think the data was just sorting itself out, and Lammers still has a marginal lead, but Pulido is still close enough on the far right of your picture to be able to attack Lammers. Remember, Lammers was still in the lead in the previous race at this point, but Pulido managed to come through and take the win in the dying stages of the first heat of semi-final B. Pulido's now jibed. Now it's up to Lammers to decide when she's going to jibe. She going to jibe on the same line?
She need to go a little bit lower because she don't want to make the same mistake as before, being too higher. Oof. And the same waves.
Where is that mark? It looks like they've judged the ley line pretty well, and it's a better rounding from Lammers this time, but Pulido is pushing really, really hard. There's less than 20 meters in it, and she's closing the gap to less than 10 meters. She's getting down the inside, and Pulido has now got inside right. So if Pulido can pull off this inside turn at the slalom mark, this will be the second time that the Spanish rider gets the better of the Dutch rider. But it's so close between them right now. Is Pulido going to keep her nerve? No, she's not. It's a wipeout for both of them. Who's going to get up and running? It's 400 meters, 500 meters back to Julia Tomasevic. Who's going to get up and running? It looks like Lammers is recovered, and Lammers is now cruising towards the finish line. And if she can just keep things together for the next few meters, then it's going to be a place booked in the final for Anna-Loes Lammers. That crash, she recovers so quickly, and what an amazing conclusion to that race. Mirko, what composure?
I was almost heartbreaking, and during the jibe, I mean, Gisela, she tried to do as much she can to overtake and Anna-Loes, but maybe it's enough for Gisela to spot at the end in front of the three contender nation. Let's see.
Let's review that in a moment. Back to you shortly.
Specially developed for Olympic kite racing sports. The VMG. Revolutionary, highly efficient, extremely fast. Velocity made good.
Okay, so as soon as we can, we will try and bring you confirmation of who has got the Olympic spot. So that's the situation. Anna-Loes Lammers, she won that race, and she sees out the her place into the final. And meanwhile, we have confirmation that it is Gisela Pulido who has done enough to qualify Spain for that spot in the game. So whatever she feels about missing out on that crash in the final showdown between Anna-Loes Lammers in that semi-final, missing her spot in the final, Gisela Pulido from Spain will still be celebrating because she has taken that spot. She knows that Spain has a spot in the games, and most likely it's going to be Gisela Pulido that represents Spain next year at Paris 2024. So we got double congratulations.
Yep. At the last jibe.
All on that last jibe. So amazing. We've got 30 seconds to the start of the next race. And this is going to be men's semi-final A. And we've already seen Maxime Nochet win one race. And so he's on level points. He's on 2 match points, same as Conor Bainbridge from Great Britain. So if Britain or France win the next match, then it's going to be their spot through to the final. It's going to be 2 for 2, 2 on starboard, 2 on port. And coming from the right, it's the Poles, Jan Marciniak and Max Sukowski. And on port tack, starting behind them, but going out to the right-hand side, it's Conor Bainbridge and Maxime Nochet. So that's the fight that we're particularly interested in, the fight out to the right. We are looking at the Poles on the left in that beautiful sunshine, racing out towards the left-hand side of the racetrack. But now we're looking at Conor Bainbridge and Maxime Nochet. That's Bainbridge on the right and Nochet on the left.
And in this one, who's going to win between Maxime and Conor, then it will be over, right? Yeah.
Exactly right. So Conor and Maxime are neck and neck with 2 race wins already, 2 match points already. They only need 1 more. The Poles, one of them still has to win 3 races if they're going to get through to the final. So that's not looking that likely at the moment. These are the Poles that we're looking at. That's Max Sukowski on the left and Jan Marciniak to his right. Further on the right, we see the other 2, the French and the British, have now tacked on to starboard, and it's going to be who crosses who. And it looks like France and Great Britain do have a lead over the Polish riders. So the battle continues between Nochet and Bainbridge. This is a match race between France and Great Britain, and whoever wins this race out of these 2 is going to book their spot in the final.
But they're not far away, yeah, the 2 Polish.
No, the Polish are still in the hunt. So any mistake by the front 2 and the Poles will be right in there. But right now it's a marginal advantage to Nochet in the turquoise green, and behind him in red, it's Bainbridge from Great Britain. Bainbridge desperate to earn that qualification spot for Great Britain for next year's Olympics.
Yeah, he will chase Maxime all these regatta, because he really need to push as hard as he can to avoid that Maxime score the bullet.
And they're pretty much riding the same wave top at the same time, the French and the British. And in the far distance up top right of your screen, you can see the leeward mark that they're aiming for. Going so fast around this racetrack, almost touching 30 knots, just tipping over 30 knots at times. And that on water on a 1.5 meter board hovering above the surface of the Solent, that feels very fast indeed. Nochet going into the jibe, Bainbridge going into the jibe. And the Poles have also jibed, but I wonder if the Poles have jibed a little bit too soon. They're going to have some work to get down to the ley line.
Yeah, definitely too soon for the 2 Polish. They have to pump out the board.
Nochet still leading, Bainbridge increasingly with some work to do. When's Bainbridge going to tack out? Is he going to try a different way up the racetrack than Nochet? He surely doesn't want to live in the bad air of Nochet where he is at the moment.
Strange that they allowed the 2 Polish on the right side.
You'd think there would be every reason for Bainbridge to do an early attack out, and unless they think that there's a tidal advantage to going this side, because they did come out ahead of the Poles on the first leg. So maybe they think that. Oh, sorry, no, that was them going the other way round. Of course,
exactly.
Yeah. So yeah,
those 2, they were to the other side.
No, you're exactly right. So the Poles are going the side that Britain and France did on the previous leg, and vice versa for Britain and France, who've now gone out to sea. And Max Sukowski, he's only 30 meters behind the leaders. So if there is some kind of strategic advantage, maybe a difference in the current and the tide from side to side, maybe there's an opportunity for the Poles. But at the moment, it still looks like it's going to be France and Great Britain in the lead, and there's nothing to choose between them. It's absolutely neck and neck between Nochet and Bainbridge, which suggests that Bainbridge is marginally quicker upwind. Going into the tack already, I can't believe how short these courses are, but Nochet manages to match Bainbridge tack for tack, and Noche narrowly holding on to this race lead, but Bainbridge putting him under immense pressure. Less than a second between the two riders. France still leading Great Britain, and whichever one of these two wins this race will book their spot in the final, and they will relegate the other rider out of the final. Bainbridge really needs to win this race, but at the moment, Noche is stretching away from him on the downwind leg. Noche with a pretty gentle jibe there, taking it fairly easy. Now Bainbridge jibes, and he's got a bit of separation on Noche. Can he make it stick?
Yeah, if he's gonna judge perfectly the lane line and having a proper rounding on the bottom mark, we saw also on the women's side, it's really important not to slow down too much, but have a proper rounding and keep the speed to the last beat.
So Bainbridge is pretty much on ley line. He's not got a lot to play with. So when Bainbridge jibes, he's going to have to execute that jibe beautifully and scythe round that leeward mark. So he's given himself more to do on the next maneuver, whereas Maxime Noche, he's already jibed. It gives him more time to get settled down and to get lined up for the rounding. So Noche sailing a really smart race, and time is running out for Bainbridge to overtake Noche. Is looking increasingly like the Frenchman is going to book his spot in the final. Noche coming towards the slalom mark. We've seen so much happen on this final jibe mark, so nothing is certain yet. And Bainbridge is pushing hard. He knows he's got nothing to lose at this stage. The waves are rolling past the slalom mark. Can Noche keep it together? Bainbridge, he doesn't do the best of roundings. It's a bit of a slow rounding for Bainbridge, so that lets the pressure off Noche a little bit. Noche taking it easy and is about to cross the finish line, and the Frenchman is going to book his spot in the final. He punches the air. He's done enough, which means that Noche is through to the four-rider final with the two Italians later on this afternoon. And for the home favourite, Conor Bainbridge, well, that means not only has he lost his opportunity to win the European title, but it means that the Olympic spot is also in jeopardy. There is a rider on the other side of the draw in semi-final B, Yannis Maus. If he can break through to the final, then I'm afraid for Conor Bainbridge and the Polish riders in semi-final A, that they are not going to make it through. Quick break and we'll be back to you soon.
At the RYA, we live to bring more people onto the water, to make them and you feel confident, inspired, and welcome in our amazing community. We'll help you learn and gain the skills you need, and we're here for you wherever you are on your journey. We're ready. The water's open, so let's go together. RYA, together.
Right, less than 2 minutes to the start of our next race, which is Heat 2 of semi-final B. And we saw in the first race, Théo de Ramicourt steal the race win from Martin Dolench at that last turning slalom mark. So the Frenchman de Ramicourt is on one race win. And Martin Dolench also on one race win. And Yannis Maus from Germany, well, he started the day, the red bib wearer, on 2 race wins. So Yannis Maus still in a position to win the next race and go through to the final. He's the only one of these riders, excuse me, that can do that. Tiger Tyson from Antigua yet to put a race win on the board.
Yes,
so
it's going to be another one, which let's see what's going to happen, because for sure Yannis Maus is, you have to nail it. You have to go to get the spot into the final to make sure to go forward. And but we saw previously Martin and Theo quite in the front compared to Yannis. So it's going to be a big challenge for them.
And if Yannis Maus wins this next match, he would automatically win that qualification spot for the nation of Germany in next year's Olympic Games. 30 seconds to go. And it looks like we've got some riders lining up for a port tax start. Is it 3 on port, or is it?
and one on starboard.
I can't see the star. I see the starboard now, maybe. So,
Starboard is Tiger.
okay, so Tiger Tyson on starboard, and it's the other three who are going to start on port. That's Yanis Mouse, Martin Dolenc, and Teo de Ramacourt. They've got to watch out for Tiger Tyson because he's got right of way. And that's start, and we're off. It's a clear start. Tiger Tyson crosses the other three on starboard. He's got rights. That's Yanis Mouse with the red bib. He's in the middle of your screen right now. And further to leeward of him, further up your screen, it's Martin Dolenc and Teo de Ramacourt. And those are the three that we're most interested in because Tiger Tyson, he's yet to put a win on the board. So Tiger's still got a lot to do. Tiger might as well go out to see, try something different from the other three, and maybe it will come good for him. But in the early stages, it looks pretty good for maybe Martin Dolenc and Teo de Ramacourt. Yanis Mouse is looking like he's slipped back a little bit compared with the other two.
Yeah, it seems he's not faster as Theo and Martin, but he's pushing a lot to get the angle. So it's gonna be really important now on the tacking. This is just about, yeah.
Right, so Martin Dolenc and Teo de Ramacourt very, very close with Yanis Mouse slightly behind them. Dolenc with a marginal advantage over de Ramacourt.
It's gonna be interesting if Tiger Tyson can make it in front of them on port because he's not far away from them.
And it looks like Tiger Tyson, maybe he's done enough to just get ahead if he's judged this ley line.
Because now he's in the inside.
He's
He will
pumping.
pump. Yeah, he will need to pump, but he might round the mark, and he's blocking Yanis Mouse behind. What a move!
What a move, and that keeps Yanis Mouse back in fourth place. And someone on shore who will be quietly celebrating that fact is Conor Bainbridge, because he doesn't want Yanis Mouse to get through into this final because he wants that qualification spot to stay open a little bit longer for the Olympics. So Yanis Mouse, he's got a lot to do here at the moment, but he is still the only rider that can win this race or win the spot into the final from this race. Martin Dolenc and Teo de Ramacourt still need to win 2 more races. And right now, it's Dolenc who has the upper hand. But Yanis Mouse looks like he's getting back into the match.
Yeah, we had Theo that slowed down quite a lot in one of the jibe. But he played really well, Yanis, on the little bit forward, longer beat on the starboard downwind, and now we round the mark before all of them.
Well, that's an amazing turnaround by Yanis Mouse to start that leg in fourth and somehow find his way up into first place, and by a comfortable margin. So Yanis Mouse going incredibly quickly in the previous race and even more quickly downwind in this race. What a turnaround for the German, Yanis Mouse.
Yeah, he put the hammer down on the downwind really well. Well played, because having Tiger Tyson on the rounding mark just in the front, it doesn't allow him to make maybe the decision that he chose. So he had to play around, I think, and well done.
Beautiful symmetry by the front three, all tacking in unison. Mouse with the black kite further to windward of Martin Dolenc, and then Teo de Ramacourt, the most lured of the pack, and Tiger Tyson on bringing up the rear on starboard tack. He's the last attack onto port. Yanis Mouse going really fast with the black and grey kite. And if he can win this race, then he will book his spot in the final.
So far, he's still on the lead. Last tack.
Teo de Ramacourt is the first attack onto starboard. Pretty tight ley line that he's left himself there for the Frenchman, whereas Martin Dolenc and Yanis Mouse leave it a little bit later before they go for the tack. Yanis Mouse still in control, but Martin Dolenc not far behind, ready to pounce on any mistake by the German. Big waves as they round the top mark. The red bib of Mouse. A lot of tension or pressure on the back leg. Mouse leaning back, partly because of the seaweed. Martin Dolenc, Kite in the air briefly. I thought he was going for a jibe. It looks like he was just backing off a little bit. And Yanis Mouse is pushing harder and stretching the gap on Martin Dolenc. And Yanis Mouse, once again, puts the hammer down, and he's already stretched to almost 100 meters from Martin Dolenc. The German has phenomenal speed. He's pushing hard downwind. He's really not taking his foot off the gas. And remember, there is seaweed around, so things can go wrong in the blink of an eye. If you hit a piece of seaweed, that can be a crash down. It could be the end of your race. But Yanis Mouse now stretches the lead up to almost 140 meters ahead of Martin Dolenc.
Yes, as I said before, on the downwind, Yanis is really fast. He's pushing a lot. He won this win, I can tell you. Last jibe over there, perfect rounding mark on the bottom.
And he's just stretching away. He can afford to take his foot off the gas now if he wants to, because Martin Dolenc slightly under-jibed that ley line, lost a bit more distance. He's got Teo Duramicourt breathing down his neck, with Tiger Tyson from Antigua just going around the bottom mark, but almost at the slalom mark already is Yanis Mouse, considering that he rounded the first mark of this race in fourth, and now he's in a dominant lead, more than 110 meters ahead of the next board. That's Martin Dolenc. Yanis Mouse, if he can just keep the wheels on the wagon for the last few meters to the finish line, he punches the air, and the German has booked his spot in the final, and he's flying high because he's achieved two aims. He's through to the final, and he has booked his spot at the Olympic Games. Germany has a spot in the Olympic Games. He's still got to win selection for Germany, but wow, that's going to be a feather in his cap. And look how much it means to the young German. He's absolutely over the moon. Mirko, that's great news for him.
Yeah, for sure. For Germany, for him, for all the team, and really great move and well played, because the pressure for him, it was for sure higher and higher every single races.
Okay, back to you soon, and we'll update you with news of when the finals are coming up this afternoon. Yanis Mouse being congratulated. Yanis Mouse steps ashore in jubilant mood. He must be so emotional right now. And it turns out that he was on a 15 square meter kite. The others were racing with an 11. So maybe that was the key decision. That's why we saw so much speed from Yanis Mouse downwind. He had the bigger kite to drag him downwind. And so he was pushing harder, and he had the ability to do that because he had the 15 square meter. And there is Yanis Mouse being congratulated by the other German riders, Leonie Meyer nearby, and Flo Gruber, one of his rivals for selection. Yanis Mouse, he's absolutely over the moon. You can see from his body language, it just means the world to him. Mirko, it's a super exciting moment for any rider to know that they're going to go. Well, certainly he's done a lot towards getting himself to the Olympic Games. We can't definitively say it's going to be Yanis, but we know at least Germany is going to the Games next year.
Yes, as far as your country he got the spot into the Olympics, you know that you have the chance to represent your country, and this is really emotional pressure off from him, and the other side is for sure super happy. As you said before, I think it was one of the key element making the right choice on the kite size, because when the wind is always in between 11 to 15, you have really to be smart and brave at the same time to make the right choice. And I think when he decided to have the 15 and get himself with more power on the downwind bit with the waves, because if you have not enough power on the downwind with the waves, you can't go across to the front one, then this is maybe why he decided to go for a bigger kite, and it paid off.
Right, so I wonder if there are kite decisions to be made for the women. Obviously, the women aren't as big. Do you think it's more likely that everybody is on the 11 square meter for this women's final, or do you think there might be a difference?
I don't know, because again, as we said, is really on between 11 and 15. The girls are not that strong to keep the 15 and to manage the proper angle and the proper speed on the upwind leg. So I guess the woman that will be on the 11.
Well, let's update you and remind you who's going to be in this final for the women. We already saw Lily Young from Great Britain and Annaloes Lammerts from the Netherlands qualify their spots from the semi-finals, and they will join the two riders that already booked their place in the finals. That is Poema Newland from France and Ellie Aldridge from Great Britain. And Ellie Aldridge is in pole position. She's already got 2 race wins to her name, so the British rider only needs to win one heat in the final and the gold medal would be hers. She would take top place on the podium and she would win her first ever European title in Formula Kite. Poema Newland, she's on 1 race win so far for having come through Gold Fleet in 2nd place, and then Lily Young and Annaloes Lammerts, the British and the Dutch riders, would have to win 3 in the final. We've got 50 seconds to go. We've seen a number of different approaches on port and starboard, so we will see how things are lining up between these 4 riders shortly. It looks like at least a couple of them are going to be lining up for a starboard approach, and it looks like it's going to be a 2 and a 2.
Yes, exactly. You're right. We have Annaloes and Lily Young more playing on the right side of the starting line, and Ellie and Poema on the left.
Interesting. So the 2 qualifiers that have come through semi-finals, we're looking at them in the center of our screen. They're looking for a starboard start, and the 2 that came through from already booked their spot in the finals yesterday are going to be starting on port further up to the left of your screen. We've got 5 seconds to go, and it will be the 2 qualifiers who start with the advantage on starboard, and the other 2 is Poema Newland going to try. No, one of them tacks straight away. I think maybe that is Ellie Aldridge.
Yes.
So that only leaves Poema Newland at the bottom of your screen going out to the right hand side. The 2 British riders and the Dutch rider are all racing out towards the left hand side. So could this be Newland's opportunity, because she's only got to execute 1 tack? The other girls have to do 2 more tacks up this first leg.
It's going to be really interesting to see, because great separation and quite tactically really difficult for Ellie, because she wanted to go on the right side, but she had to.
I'm not sure she would wanted to do that, would she?
No, because they just closed the gate in the front. So rather veer away and lose a lot of space behind all of them. Otherwise, make the tack and go on the side that you don't want to.
So there are our 3 riders, the 2 British and the Dutch, coming in from the Isle of Wight side of the race course further out to sea, and then we'll have to see how things line up with Poema Newland when they meet towards the top of the course.
So Poema already tack on the ley line. I guess that as far as we're gonna get another angle, we can see Poema on the ley line.
That's Poema Newland on starboard tack. How's she going to line up against the rest? It's looking close between her and Lily Young. but I'm not sure if it's going to be enough for Poema Newland. Ellie Aldridge looks like she's got a marginal lead over Annalise Lammertz, and then Poema Newland and Lily Young fighting it out. One of them just crashed down. I think Poema Newland just had a bad crash, so that's not good news for the French rider. She's up and running again.
No, Lily.
It was Lily? Okay.
Yeah.
So Lily Young with the...
no, Poema. No, because both of them, they would do.
I think maybe both of them had trouble. So there's a gap opening up. Ellie Aldridge with a 60-meter advantage over Lammertz, and then a bit of a gap back to Poema Newland, and then Lily Young struggling to recover for quite a long time. So
yeah, that was Poema.
Yeah, we're a little bit confused about who's had the swim, or who's had the worst of those swims. It says Newland on our screen. We wonder if it is, or if it's Newland who's actually stuck in the water back there. But perhaps more importantly, it's Ellie Aldridge. She is already in pole position. She only needs to win one race, and at the moment, the closest threat to her is Annalise Lammertz, because whether we're talking about Lily Young and Poema Newland, they both had a disaster. This has turned into a two-horse race, and I think you can ignore the fact that Poema Newland is listed as third with a 42-meter gap. What's more important, that's just not true. What's important is that Annalise Lammertz is still pushing Ellie Aldridge, but Ellie Aldridge has a fairly healthy gap on the second placed rider from the Netherlands. So Ellie Aldridge, it's all within her grasp to win this race and to win the European title. She might be seeing this this final out in very short order indeed, if things carry on the way they are right now.
Yeah, so far amazing performance for Annelise Lammert, just staying just behind Ellie and not getting any mistake. I mean, for her, it's going to be a great result.
Okay, so Ellie Aldridge leading Annalise Lammertz. Look at those lumpy waves. There is jeopardy at every moment. Even when you're going in a straight line, you don't know what's going to happen next, let alone when you go for a complex maneuver like a tack. But Ellie Aldridge makes it look so easy. She's already got her kite into the power zone, and Annalise Lammertz tacks right down to leeward of Ellie Aldridge. So there are no tactical challenges here for Ellie Aldridge. She's just got to keep going over those waves. Look, bouncing up over one wave into the trough of the next, up over the next wave. Try and keep that foil in the water. Stop the foil breaking out into thin air, because you want to keep that attachment. A bit of a splash down there for Ellie Aldridge. Big wave that she's about to go over. Massive bend of the knees to try and keep the foil running evenly through the water. And Lammertz has got good height. She's managed to pull up to the same line as Ellie Aldridge. So good sailing by Annalise Lammertz, but is it going to be enough to overtake Ellie Aldridge? It's going to take an error from the British rider, who is now tacked. That's the last tack of her race. Is this the last tack of her European Championship? She's only just got out onto the water. She's watched the semi-finals play out, but Ellie Aldridge seems to have the measure of these conditions. British rider safely round the top mark, and she's got her kite fairly high in the air. At what percentage do you think she's pushing, Mirko?
Close to 100 anyway. She can't afford to go slower, because once you try to go slower or too high, then the mistake is even closer. So they have to go maybe not 100%, but 98.
Okay.
It's really important.
So
with the foils, you can't slow down a lot. That's the key.
So Ellie Aldridge still pushing hard. Mirko still sees there's a lot of commitment from the way that Aldridge is flying that kite and riding that board as she comes down to the bottom of the course for the final time. And realistically, it looks like Annalise Lammertz is the only one that could touch Ellie Aldridge, but it's going to take a mistake for things to change for the British rider. Into another jibe, just one more jibe left in this race, and she's pretty close to the bottom mark, and looks like she's judged it fairly well. She's got a big breathing space back to Annalise Lammertz, so Ellie Aldridge can afford to take it easy as she sails towards the jibe mark, towards this slalom mark, which we've seen so much drama today. But Ellie Aldridge has all the time in the world to go round this mark. And, well, will she start to be thinking about what it feels like to become a European champion? I don't think so. She can't afford to think that way. She's got to get this board and this kite safely across the finish line. Oh, bit of a loss of control of the kite. Can she get it up and running again? She's frantically trying to pump. Oh, no, it's a sink down for Ellie Aldridge. Is she going to be able to get it up and running in time? I wonder if she was taking it a little bit too easy, not pushing the kite hard enough.
She went too...
Annaloose Lammerts now is her opportunity to get round. Is she going to be able to get round cleanly? Lammerts so far keeps it together, and the Dutch rider has managed to get past Ellie Aldridge, and it looks like the Dutch rider could keep this European Championship alive a little bit longer. What a turnaround. Taking it so easy across the line, but that doesn't matter because Lammerts has put her first win on the board, and Ellie Aldridge, who was just 100 metres away from taking her European title, well, she's still not managed to get that kite back in the air, and I'm wondering if she's even going to manage to finish this race, because down comes the next rider, and that is Newland.
Look at amazing. I told you, you can't slow down. She take it really easy. The turn went too much under the kite, and then when she started to get the power, was no pressure on the line, no tension on the line, and then losing control.
Wow. So it's just so unforgiving, isn't it? There's no such thing as an easy way around the race course.
Yes, exactly. You are few meter away from a title, and then everything open again.
And it's not going to help her that that kite is getting wet at the moment. It hasn't really got sudden. It's still bouncing on the surface of the water, and it looks like she might be pretty close to managing to get that kite in the air again. But you've got to feel for Ellie Aldridge. She was just so close to victory, but just let it slip. And Annaloose Lammerts comes round in second place, overtakes Aldridge, and puts her first race win on the board. Right, we've got just 1 minute to the start of the men, so we're straight into the action again. Right, we'll just remind you.
I told you, she can't, you can't slow.
23 seconds to go in the finals. Oh. There's a little bit, I understand that a delay is going to be coming fairly shortly. So it looks like 10 seconds to the start, but we understand that there is going to be a bit of a delay. So that will give me time. Oh, no, it's on. It's on.
It's on. It's on.
So everybody starts on starboard, and let me remind you who that is. We haven't seen them yet today because they already qualified. That's the two Italians, Riccardo Pianozzi and Lorenzo Boschetti, to be joined by Maxime Nochet and Yannis Maus, who we've just seen win their respective semi-finals. So everyone's starting on starboard. I think this is the first time we've seen this, Mirko.
And the second time.
Second time, is it? Okay. And so who do you like at the moment? It's Boschetti furthest right, is that right?
Yes, Boschetti is all the way, windward to all the four, and then Maxime straight close by. Riccardo didn't get really a nice start because he squeezed it on windward to Yannis Maus, which has a quite good angle. So not easy for all of them, and it's going to be really difficult to call the first tack to go on the other side, which only Lorenzo might do. Wow, that's a dancing.
Simultaneous tacks from all four riders, and it's the Italian Riccardo Pianozzi who is already one race win away from winning because he takes 2 match points in from having worn the yellow bib in Gold Fleet. Lorenzo Boschetti, the other Italian, already has 1 race win. He needs to win 2 races this afternoon. And then the Frenchman Maxime Nochet and the German Yannis Maus, they need to win 3 races if they're going to see out this European title. And at the moment, it's a close battle between Lorenzo Boschetti and Maxime Nochet.
Soon it's going to be another simultaneous tuck on the lay line. Oof.
Barely keeping control through these waves. It looks really bouncy. And Lorenzo Boschetti in the blue bib is going to be first around, followed by Maxime Nochet. And there's Riccardo Pianozzi in yellow. And then further back, Yannis Maus. So Boschetti, if he can win this race, he would draw level with his teammate Riccardo Pianozzi, who's been the first to jibe out. So Pianozzi looking for something different down the opposite side of the racecourse. Our race leader Boschetti just out of picture. And we are looking at Maxime Nochet in the middle of your screen, followed by Yannis Maus, and then the two Italians are on far sides. No. What's happened? Do you think there might have been a touchdown for Boschetti?
Yeah, because we saw the jibe really wide. It was pumping, and then when it's like that, it splashed down a little bit. So
we think there's been a lead change.
Yeah, now it's Maxime in front.
And it could be that Boschetti, who was leading, is now back in fourth place. So now it's up to the Frenchman, Maxime Nochet, followed by Yannis Maus. It's the two semi-final qualifiers that lead the two Italians at the moment. Riccardo Pianozzi rounding third. Lorenzo Boschetti drops from first to last.
You can't afford to do any single mistake. Just a little butt check on the water during the jibe, and you lose 50 meter.
Now, I wonder if Yannis Maus is stuck with his 15. He obviously enjoyed using the 15 in the semi-final. I wonder if the others spotted that, and if everybody is on 15 square meter kites, or if anyone is on the slightly less powerful but potentially faster 11 square meter.
I think they are all of them on 15.
Okay, so we think they're all on the slightly more powerful 15 square meter. Maxime Nochet, he's the furthest left. He's doing 23 knots upwind. The two Italians further over to the right, and Yannis Maus, the German, in the middle.
Yes, Maxime now is a little bit up. He will tuck on the lay line for first to make the choice. He's in front of Yannis Maus.
That's Yannis Maus we can see with the black kite on the left, and it's the two Italians on the right with the yellow and grey kites. And we should see, there's Maxime Nochet. Maxime Nochet is still leading, and he's going to be first around this windward mark for the final time. And will this be an opportunity for Nochet to put his first race win on the board? Around goes the Frenchman. And he's got quite a lead back to Yannis Maus, and then it's the two Italians close behind the German. So a real close battle for second, third and fourth. That's all making life a little bit easier for Maxime Nochet, with more than 100 meters lead back to the German.
And again, Riccardo decided to go on to the other side, make a completely different choice, which we understand. Otherwise, there is no way that you can...
When you're last, you might as well try something different.
Absolutely.
Everybody now on port jibe. Look at the waves, really big rolling waves. Very difficult to maintain control as you bounce up and down over these wave tops. But Maxime Nochet doing a great job for France right now. 40 meters ahead of Yannis Maus, so he's lost a bit of ground to Yannis Maus. We've seen how fast the German can be downwind. And Boschetti going into a jibe, quickly matched by Yannis Maus, and now comes Maxime Nochet's jibe as they come to the bottom of the course for the final time. And Riccardo Pianozzi, our yellow bib wearer, some way back in last. Now it's towards that treacherous jibe mark. We've seen what it did for Ellie Aldridge in the women's race just now. Will Maxime Nochet be able to push hard enough, but not too hard? If you push too hard, you crash. If you don't push hard enough, maybe your kite drops to the water. You've got to judge it just right. And he's got Yannis Maus breathing down his neck. Will the Frenchman keep his composure through this jibe? Will he be able to maintain his kite in the air, his board in the water? Yannis Maus pushing hard all the way, just 10 meters between the two. Noche being forced to go all out. Now Yanis Mouse drops down the other side, but Noche punches the air. He just manages to win that race. Amazing performance by the Frenchman, and Yanis Mouse crossing in second, and Lorenzo Boschetti in third, Riccardo Pianozzi in fourth. So that is a race win for Maxime Noche. Back to you shortly. So what a race for Maxime Noche, and the yellow bibs in both the men and the women, Ellie Aldridge in the women and Riccardo Pianozzi not able to make their yellow bib advantage stick. So this forces everyone to go through another race, and we are coming up to the second race of the women's final, where we saw Annalise Lammertz win the first round. After Ellie Aldridge crashed to the water just less than 100 meters from taking the European title. That does still mean that Aldridge is the only one on match point. She's the only one that can win the Europeans in the next round. Will she be able to see it out? We know that she's fast enough, and we know she's got a great mentality as well. So she will recover from that mistake. She knows that she just took it a little bit too easy. She took her foot off the gas a little bit too much. Mirko, we also seen a range of approaches up this windward leg. Are you going to choose to start on starboard or port out of this next start?
I think only them they can really judge on that, because I think it's the angle against the waves and the current. We see that it's not a lot of difference between the left and the right. Maybe it's just about how to see the wind and to feel well go against the waves on the first part of the course.
The way they're lining up, it looks like we're going to have all four female riders starting on starboard. So this could be a drag race out to the seaward side of the course. And just to remind you, in this, we've got Ellie Aldridge from Great Britain, Poema Newland from France, Lily Young from Great Britain, and Annalise Lammertz from the Netherlands. And they've got 14 seconds to go. Brief touchdown by Ellie Aldridge in the yellow bib, but she's back in control. This is the slow race towards the start. You don't want to break the start too early, but now you can accelerate, drop your kite into the power zone, and good start for Ellie Aldridge. Very punchy start by Aldridge in the yellow bib, and a pretty good start also for Lily Young in the red. So at the bottom of your screen, Lily Young. Then next up, Ellie Aldridge in the yellow, Poema Newland. And then at the top of your screen, it's Annalise Lammertz, the Dutch rider who won the race just a few minutes ago, the first race of the women's final. Now we're into race two. Ellie Aldridge, she's got 2 race wins to her name. Poema Newland and Annalise Lammertz on 1 race win each. And Lily Young yet to put a win on the board in the finals.
Yeah, from the drone shot, you can easily see what we are talking about. Against the waves, you can see the white. Opa!
Crash down for Poema Newland, I think that was.
Again.
So that's a disaster for Poema Newland. That makes life a little bit easier for Lily. Here we see so Poema Newland going through the tack, loses her footing. Oh dear. That's going to hurt. It's probably going to hurt mentally more than it hurt physically.
And it was a quite risk with Annalise that touched also the kite.
So Ellie Aldridge in the lead, Lily Young in second, Annalise Lammertz in third. Ellie Aldridge back in that position that if she manages to maintain the lead all the way round the rest of this race, then she will win the European title. So she's in a great spot to do that right now. She's already got a bit of a gap back on Lily Young in second and Annalise Lammertz in third, with Poema Newland looking to play catch up after that splashdown. Aldridge around the mark in first. Very close between Young and Lammertz, going round in second and third. And Poema Newland back up and running in fourth. She's not out of this yet.
We saw before how important it's going to be the downwind part on leg 2.
Ellie Aldridge successfully negotiates that jibe. I'm wondering how much in the back of her mind that jibe has been running through her mind, and what she did wrong and what she needs to do differently on these jibes. You've got to keep enough speed on. You've got to keep power going through the kite. Even in these fairly strong winds, it seems like you can lose the power out of the kite if you don't keep enough force in it.
No, you have to play with your foil. You can't afford, because you are really fast. It's just not even a second, just a little bit that you lose your power because you go too close to the kite, and then you lose the tension in your line, and then no control.
Okay, so
this state, it seems it's getting bigger.
we've also heard that Poema Newland got a penalty, perhaps from that touch of kites that you mentioned, Mirko. So Poema Newland, not only is she last, but she has a penalty. But meanwhile, Ellie Aldridge, none of that will matter if Ellie Aldridge sees out this race, which at the moment she's got a fairly comfortable lead on Annalise Lammertz and Lily Young. Poema Newland right back into it. She's caught up and has the potential to overtake second and third. So it's a real close battle between second, third and fourth. But Ellie Aldridge, who we can see there, just focus on her own race right now. Couple of big waves coming that Ellie Aldridge has already been over, and now the second, third and fourth are going through those waves. Aldridge has tacked. She's only got one more tack in this race to do now.
And Poema,
Another splashdown for Poema Newland in attack. These tacks are not going well for the French rider.
is it was Poema or Annalise?
Oh, it might be Annalise. Maybe it was Annalise. It's a little bit confusing, but
Yeah, because we can't spot the color of the lycra when we are against the.
Aldridge looking imperious on the right-hand side of the screen, still with a big lead. Back to the next rider, which is Lily Young at the moment. Here comes Aldridge, about to go through her last tack of this race. Beautifully executed. And the fact that we've just seen that splashdown just now tells you that you can't take it for granted. Why would she have swung her kite up in the air there for a moment? Would that be seaweed, do you think, Mirko?
Probably just to have more pressure on the front foot. Difficult to judge.
Aldridge safely around the top mark. Next round comes Lily Young, and we think it's Poema Newland in third, with Annalise Lammertz playing catch up after that splashdown. Aldridge with an enormous lead. She's been here before. Can she see it out this time round? Let's see.
I really hope that she will not make mistake twice in a row. I guess that she will try to not to go in the safe mode until crossing the finish line.
No safe mode is what Mirko believes. So we've only got 2 jibes for Ellie Aldridge to execute now. She's just coming up to the first of those 2 jibes. Oh, it's a little bit slow through the middle, but she's back up and running again. Has she judged her lay line correctly? That's pretty difficult in these waves and in these conditions. Looks like she's fairly comfortable. She's got enough of a gap. She doesn't have to get it too accurate, but she's safely round now. Now she comes towards the slalom mark. Now is the moment of truth. One more jibe to execute. Just got to get the right amount of force through that kite, through the foil. Don't take it too easy, Ellie. Keep on doing what you know you can do.
Yes, she's really. I mean,
here we go.
She can't do twice.
Here we go.
Okay.
Let's
okay.
see.
The kite, well turned.
Back
full
into
of power,
the power zone.
A lot of speed.
Less than 100 meters to cross the finish. This could be the moment where we see the celebrations begin. Just moments away. Just keep it going a little bit longer. Ellie Aldridge, she stands up. At last, she secured the European title on home waters in front of Eastney Beach and the city of Portsmouth. There's the Union Jack on the bottom of her foil. Ellie Aldridge wins her first ever European title, and congratulations to the rider from Great Britain. What an amazing performance, followed by Lily Young in second, Poema Newland in third, and Annalise Lammertz in fourth. So absolutely stellar performance by the British riders in that final race of the finals. And out comes the Union flag, the Union Jack celebrations for Ellie Aldridge, who's going to ride back towards the shore to rapturous applause from the home crowd here in Portsmouth. What an amazing...
I think Poema should be Poema because she's in
There's
front
Ellie
of it.
Aldridge riding ashore at high speed. She's back up to full pace again. And we've got very little time to celebrate with Ellie because we're going to be getting into the next finals match between the men. So there's no rest here for anybody else, but Ellie Aldridge can relax knowing that her week of hard work is done, and she showed the composure to come back after crashing down and letting that title slip in the previous race, but making no such mistake in the next race, winning in the second heat of the finals. We got 45 seconds to the next start. And just to remind you who's in that, we've already had Maxime Nochet win the first round. Yannis Maus from Germany also in the hunt. And the two Italians, Riccardo Pianozzi and Lorenzo Boschetti. 25 seconds to the start. It looks like we might have different approaches. Pianozzi on starboard and the other three about to start on port.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, this start, because now it seems that they choose to go to the right side of the course, so to have the waves on the side on the first speed.
Here we go. Is it going to be a clear start? Pianozzi's going to be coming in from the left of screen. He crosses with a yellow bib ahead of the other three, but he's got one more tack to complete. And it looks like two of them attacking. I think is it Yannis Maus who's tacked onto starboard as well, whilst Pianozzi has tacked onto port. So some big manoeuvres, and I'm not sure what Yannis Maus. Yannis Maus just went out of picture there, and I'm not sure what he was up to, but looked like he was about to go into a jibe. Is it maybe a penalty or something? I'm not sure. It says clear start, so it's nothing to do with that. But Yannis Maus has executed a penalty turn, so that's put the German on the back foot. And meanwhile, it's a very close battle between Pianozzi, Maxime Nochet, and Boschetti. So
maybe something happened just on the last few seconds before the start, or
yes,
like that.
And
we don't know.
No, so Yannis Maus some way back from the other three. Pianozzi at the top of your picture, Boschetti in the middle, and further to the right, Maxime Nochet, winner of the first race just now. But it's still Pianozzi at the top of screen who is on match point. Only needs to win this race to win the European title. Boschetti and Nochet tack. Pianozzi matches them and is marginally ahead. So Pianozzi with a slender lead ahead of Boschetti and Nochet.
Yeah, it was really good move for Pianozzi because he went on the starboard, but when he saw the other going to the right, he decided not let them go alone and then straight with confidence, just tacking and in top
Amazing
of them.
tack.
Yeah.
Really impressive tack by Riccardo Pianozzi, and that rewards him with first around the top mark, followed by fellow Italian Lorenzo Boschetti, and a little bit further back is Maxime Nochet. Actually, excuse me, it's Nochet in second and Boschetti in third. So Nochet, he's showed us what he can do. The Frenchman winning the previous race. Pianozzi didn't feature so much in the previous race, but Pianozzi at the moment has his bit between the teeth and he is leading the race. The yellow bib just ahead of Maxime Nochet and Boschetti not far back, and Yannis Maus playing catch up from fourth after having to take that penalty soon after the start line.
Yes, and then having Nochet in this final is, I think, one of the tough competitors in Formula Kite with the experience that he has. And then with this kind of condition, it's not going to be easier to beat him. And he will push until the end. And having him on the side is not someone that make a mistake. He's always behind, just waiting for you to make a mistake. So.
And Nochet, winner of multiple European titles going back a few years. He's not been one of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pianozzi has already matched tacks with Nochet. So Pianozzi and Nochet going out to the right-hand side. They're actually top left of your screen, but that's the right-hand side of the course. Boschetti continuing out to the left. He's at the bottom. And the black kite of Yannis Maus has closed the gap a little bit on Boschetti. There's our yellow bib of Riccardo Pianozzi. A bit of a splash there for a moment, but doesn't amount to anything. Pianozzi and Nochet going very fast on the far side of the racetrack. Boschetti up to full speed in the middle of the course, now on port. And also Yannis Maus, bottom right of your picture, going fast, but still playing catch up after that penalty. So we're in the second heat of the finals. Pianozzi, if he continues to lead this race and wins across the finish, he will win the European title. Maxime Nochet needs to close the gap and overtake the Italian to keep his hopes alive of winning the Europeans. Boschetti looks like he's closed the gap by going further out to sea, but it's still Pianozzi in first, Nochet in second, and Boschetti in third.
Yeah, it's going to be just 50 meters behind. So this is going to be the last downwind leg.
Round goes Pianozzi for the final time at the top of the course, still closely matched by Nochet. Boschetti comes into view. He's in third, but he needs a mistake from the front two. Yannis Maus still back in fourth, still trying to close the gap. Now Pianozzi jibes. Nochet jibes as well.
How close they are. Almost in the same wave.
Nochet just one wave behind the yellow bib of Pianozzi. Pianozzi managing to keep things going, running it up to 32 knots downwind.
Nochet is giving pressure to the youngest.
Pianozzi just 18 years old. One of the younger riders in the men's fleet. Pianozzi going into his last jibe of this leg, closely matched by Nochet. Nochet keeping on the pressure. Riccardo Pianozzi, he's just moments away. He's one jibe away from winning the European title. This will be the 18-year-old's first European title in Formula Kite. Is he big enough? Is he good enough to do it? Or is Maxime Nochet's pressure going to get to the Italian? It's the final slalom jibe turn. Here goes Riccardo Pianozzi. Here goes Maxime Nochet. Pianozzi rides down that wave, manages to keep the kite going. Nochet, a brief collapse of the kite, but he's back up to speed. Nochet pushing Pianozzi all the way. But the Riccardo Pianozzi, the 18-year-old from Italy, leaps in the air with joy. He is the absolute runaway champion with a European title.
Well done.
Mirko Babini, you must be absolutely delighted.
I'm proud of them. All of them. Great. Well done.
Maxim
Really.
Noche crosses in second, Yanis Maus in third, and Lorenzo Boschetti in fourth. So congratulations also to Yanis Maus booking that single spot that was available for Olympic qualification. Maus qualifying Germany for the Olympics. There is our happy Italian, the 18-year-old Riccardo Pianozzi. How much does that mean? And
For sure with the coach. Happy as well. Well done. Finally, no mistake. Great.
he doesn't care that his kite
Something else.
is flapping around in the water. That seems to be a secondary consideration right now.
Yeah, exactly. But he deserved it. He played really well, all European from day one, and at the end he deserved it. And great.
Okay.
All of them. And Maxime, again, second spot.
Well, a quick break and we'll be back with you soon, and we hope to get some interviews with the winners. Riccardo Pianozzi, the gold medalist. It won't be long before he's got that gold medal hanging around his neck. And it's going to be Maxime Noche from France who takes silver, and Lorenzo Boschetti from Italy will take the bronze. And Yanis Maus, okay, maybe he doesn't get to step on the podium, but he does come away from Portsmouth knowing that he has secured an Olympic berth for Germany at next year's Paris 2024 Games. And in the women, just to remind you, Ellie Aldridge from Great Britain wins gold in home waters. Annaloes Lammerts takes silver for the Netherlands, and bronze goes to France's Poema Newland. Now, we are going to run out and get some interviews on the beach fairly shortly. So we will get ourselves organized for that. We'll go to an ad, and then we will get out on the beach. We're just getting down to the beach to meet with Riccardo Pianozzi, who has just won the gold medal. Riccardo, congratulations.
Thank you.
You jumped high with celebration. How much does this mean to you?
Yeah, it's amazing. It's the best sensation probably of my life. I'm feeling very, very nice. And I just want to say ciao to everyone.
And,
Thanks to the federation, to my sponsor, to everyone.
and in Italian as well, tell all your friends and family back home what it means in Italian.
Grazie a tutti per il supporto. Ciao a tutta la mia famiglia. Vi voglio un bene dell'anima. Ciao a tutti.
And you had to go through 2 races to do it, Riccardo. What were you thinking after the first race?
After the first race, it's hard because I take a big seaweed in the upwind. On the downwind, it's impossible to go. I risked to crash 3 times. and it was not hard for me, but at the end I do a perfect second regatta, and I dominated the second regatta.
And a bronze for Lorenzo as well. It's been a great week for Italy, hasn't it?
It's a very, very great week for Italy.
Riccardo, fantastic. Congratulations.
Ciao to everyone.
Right, let's see who we can find. Let's see if we can find any of our other medalists. There is Lorenzo Boschetti. We'll see if we can speak to Lorenzo. So these two have worked so well all week. Boschetti winning a bronze for Italy. And Maxime Nochet, there goes, there goes my paper. Lorenzo, congratulations.
Thank you.
Bronze medal.
I was hoping for a better job from my side for today. I did a mistake on the first jibe of the first race, but anyways, good event, good pace on this week, so yeah, I'm happy.
Italians are look really strong this week. What's worked so well for Italy?
I think consistency on training and never give up on the season when things are not going well. So I think at the end of the season we took what we put on the game.
And Riccardo Pianozzi winning the gold. You work closely with Riccardo. It's a big moment for him.
Yeah, I'm happy for him. He's so young and so talented. So yeah, happy for him.
Cool. Well, it's been great to see you perform so strongly this week, Lorenzo. All the best.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Right, let's see if we can find... Can we find Ellie Aldridge anywhere? Where's Ellie? There's Ellie. Right, let's go and find Ellie. So Ellie Aldridge wins in front of a home crowd. And there's Maxime Nochet winning the silver. Ellie, congratulations.
Thank you.
You kept us on the edge of our seats there. What about you? What a way to win.
Yeah, that was tough. Yeah, I thought I was going to have a bit of a saga a couple of years ago. Yeah.
Tell us about that saga. What are you talking about?
Oh, no, with Kate. Do you remember Katie's?
Oh,
And
yes,
she was
okay.
in the semi-finals going through to the finals, and every reach dive she'd crash, and I was like, it's happening to me.
You can't afford to think like that. What were you thinking as you went through that slalom jibe turn in the final race? Because that was the moment where it went wrong for you previous time.
Yeah.
But you surely can't afford to think about it.
Yeah, no. I was just thinking about where I messed up last time, and I just won't do the same thing.
Right. And you didn't. You saw it out and you sailed so fast. What was so difficult about those conditions? Because the waves look big. How much of that was a challenge?
Yeah, so the waves are pretty big, a lot bigger than we've had every day this week, and also there's a lot of seaweed. So by the time you get to the bottom mark, you've got so much seaweed on your foil, then you have to go for a reach, which is normally pretty fast, but you're actually just trying to not crash, which is, well, I crashed in the first race, but yeah, just trying to survive it really at the bottom. But yeah.
And so the march of the British women goes on, and this is a major feather in your cap. Where does this rank amongst all your achievements so far?
Do you know what? This is actually pretty up there. I was saying to the girls earlier, I've never actually won an event outright. I've won events where we've been in a mixed fleet with the guys as well, but I've never actually won in the final, like the final. So I'm really happy to be able to pull it off.
And you just keep on getting better and better. You're closing the gap, and you've turned a lot of thirds into a lot of seconds this year, and finally you've got a major championship victory, and it must feel like things are going in the right direction for you.
I think so. Hopefully we'll keep going up next year.
And tell us about the squad mentality, because the British girls seem to work so well together, and second, third and fourth at the Worlds a month ago, a silver for yourself. Tell us, how does that work so well?
I think our squad is really unique, and we're actually really special. We have quite a lot of respect for each other, and we get on really well, and we're kind of we're kind of like, well, if we all push each other, then we'll all get better. And then whoever the person is that goes to the Olympics will hopefully then go win a gold medal for all of us. But you know that I don't know, we're just helping each other, you know? Like we don't think of it in a selfish way. We try and think of it as in a team way most of the time.
You make that whole dynamic sound quite easy, but it doesn't always work that way. So it's really impressive that you and the coaches have managed to get that kind of squad mentality. And meanwhile, to win a Europeans here in Portsmouth in front of a home crowd, that adds an extra spice to it as well, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Extra special.
Yeah, it's so cool to see how many people have come down to watch. Heaps of friends and family and just local people from down here. Hopefully it will inspire more people to get out on the water as well.
And any message to friends and family out there watching on the live stream? This is a big moment for you, Ellie.
Yeah, it's big. I don't know if my grandma's watching, but hi.
All right, Granny. Well, you must be so proud, and the rest of Great Britain is proud of you. Ellie, go and enjoy that gold medal. Thank you so much. So there we have it. We have women's gold for Great Britain. We have gold for Italy in the men. And so we've had a fantastic week. We've had all kinds of weather. We missed the first 2 days due to 45-knot storms. And then we had a one-day qualification. We lost quite a few big players, big name riders on the first day who didn't manage to make it through into Gold Fleet. And gradually the riders fall away. You end up with the top 10 on the final medal series, and you've seen the drama of the medal series. Anyone can win on the final day, and Ellie Aldridge and Riccardo Pianozzi, yes, they had the yellow bib at the start of the day, but they didn't make it easy for themselves, particularly Ellie with that crash down that we saw. So we've seen some real drama this afternoon on the final day of the Formula Kite European Championships. But that's it from us on Eastney Beach. I thank he's now my cameraman, Mirko Babini, my co-commentator. I thank the RYA and UK Sport for helping us make this happen. Portsmouth City Council done an amazing job. And we are going to sign off now. And thank you very much from Mirko Babini, from myself, Andy Rice, and from everyone on Eastney Beach. That's it for the Formula Kite European Championships. The kitefoiling world continues with Kitefoiling World Series Austria in Trounsey just 2 weeks from now. So we look forward to seeing you on our next live stream. Have a great couple of weeks and we'll see you then. Just into